Okay. So basically, with the whole Amazon thing, it's like if you were to go over and you're online and you find something on Amazon that you want to buy, you order it there and then, you pay for it there and then in the morning, the postman knocks on your door, delivers your parcel, and it's there. That's easy to do business with because you've got online, you've got what you wanted, you've ordered it, it's all happened correctly. Where that differs from satisfaction is when you open the box and you find out that what you thought you'd ordered isn't exactly what you wanted. You may not be satisfied with the end result, but the process worked well. So what we're looking at here is actually how the processes work, just so we can see how different groups relate to make sure that we're not excluding people or treating people differently in any way. So it's working out that. There is a chance on here to look at satisfaction, because obviously that's another driver that we're looking at. So that's not just to do with ease of doing business, but it's actually what you feel about us and how we can improve in that way. And then also, at the very end, is a chance for you to effectively write down whatever you want that you want us to investigate and may relate to anything to do with your property or your tenancy or whatever. Okay. Does that all make sense? Excellent. Well, the first part there is, if we move on to the first section, it's to do with rent payments. Nobody will have a look at that so we can see what we're going through while we're doing it. Now, obviously, rent is one of those things that anyone who's a customer of ours has to deal with doing. So, because it's something that we would describe as being a transactional process. So you're not having to choose something. There's no kind of is it right or wrong. It's a kind of just something you do. It's just really to have a look at that. So if you could have a look at that section, the way that the scoring works, that first column, 1 would be very dissatisfied, 10 would be very satisfied. It's up to you to make the judgment on where it falls on that scale. And you'll probably choose only one of those different options, but I've got a list of the options there that how people generally pay. So if you can choose the option that you use, give us a score out of 10. And if it's one of the first 4, whether you do that online or not, or whether you make any adjustments online. And then what you think would make that easier. So you might be, actually, you don't need to make it easier, it works fine anyway.
Yeah.
I pay by direct debit. It's the right amount, I know how much is coming out, it doesn't get any easier than that. You may say, actually, if I was able to choose whichever day I wanted or pay for weekly or whatever, weekly rather than monthly, whatever, anything along those lines. So if you can just have a quick look at that and then just choose the option that you choose, give us that score, say whether it's online or not, and then you only need to fill in the box if you can think of a way of making that easier.
This one's a little difficult for me. I'm not the money person in the household, so I know how he pays it.
Okay.
And then,
Does he curse and swear every time he has to do it, or does he just go through?
Pretty much with all the bills. I don't want to swear. If I put it just slap bang in the middle, and then in the comments, I'll add my comment from what I've heard from ringing up.
That's right, yeah, and it's just, that's fine.
My benefits pay straight to the housing association, so it's no trouble at all, really.
So it is a full housing benefit. If you tick that box at the bottom then, so the score, that, presumably that would be a 10 unless you have issues with that. Yeah, that's nice and simple for that one.
Because if you, I can't, well, I'm just thinking when I ring up, but there's a message that it says, and I can't remember if you've taken the payments, you can't do on over the phone payments anymore.
It's just moving away from that.
Yeah.
So it's more to do with either payments online, by direct debit, standing order, or
I know that drives me mad. Sometimes you just want to do that on the go, and the thought of, oh, I need to strap down and sit at a computer to get that done.
Which is actually a very valid point. So if he would rather do that, what's the reasons that he chooses to just kind of pay every now and then? Is it to do with when cash comes in, or just when he thinks about it, or?
He changed banks, and when he did that, his wages were going into one bank. He'd put some in there to pay for some things and some in others, because we had, not with yourselves, but with a couple of companies, taking wrong payments, taking stupid amounts, and the gas and electricity companies actually by accident taking the full amount, clearing his whole bank account,
Yeah.
and then us saying we pay monthly. We not even quarterly, we pay monthly.
Yeah.
We've got the breakdown here. Why has this happened? Oh, a system error. Oh, just wait for 5 days, we'll refund it back to you. And then it's, what do we do for a week? So he's, a lot of the time, a lot of things, he chooses to call up,
Yeah.
I'm paying this amount, X amount, that amount will get taken, and it kind of takes away that risk. Just where it happened a couple of times, it just puts that doubt in you, and that we've had to do it before, I'd rather not have to live like that again, even if it is only 5 working days. It feels like a long, long time if it's a year's worth of utility taken. And you think,
It's a lot of cost, isn't it? Just out of interest, was that direct debit payments or standing orders?
Direct debits.
And did you try to get the money back from the service provider or the bank?
We've tried to get from the service provider before. It happened twice, particularly with our utility, with our gas and electric company. I think the first time it happened, we waited and just kind of sat tight. And then when it happened again, and we said, this isn't fair, why is this happening? And then we had to do the indemnity claim. So the bank, I think it only took a day for the bank to put it back in. But it's just that fear of being left open to these things happening, not just with yourself, but with a lot, like I say, with a lot of for our Virgin, I do the same. Ring up, pay the bill over the phone, just in case for some reason there's a glitch or an error. And because when things like that happen, we can't pay our rent, we can't pay all the other bills, and then we run into trouble in all different areas. So.
And I totally understand that. How would you feel about, rather than just phoning up, actually just logging in online and paying it? So you still have control of the payment when you make it, but actually just logging on, make the payment online, doing it that way.
No, that's absolutely fine. Just like I said, for me, easy, 90% of the time, phone in hand, you can just do everything on your phone now. But like I say, for him, when he's the TV bill, he can put his headset on in the car, and then you can literally just talk. Take the payment. We've got these card details saved with us. Do you want to use those again? Yes. Okay, gone through. So just for the on the move type thing, sometimes we might not have the internet connection or be in an area where we can just do that, and he thinks, let me pay the rent right now. So that would be the only reason. The option to have both, I think, would, for us personally, works.
That's absolutely fine. One thing to do with the direct debits, though, and this isn't just with us, is it any direct debits, is that the guarantee is covered by the banks. So just as well, if ever you have a problem with your bills, go to your bank first.
The bank first.
And they'll refund you the money, and they then take it up with the company.
Because a lot of places just say, oh, but it's paid now, and you won't have to pay us for the rest of the year, or the rest of the however long.
Utility companies are terrible.
Not really fair.
We'll keep your money when we owe you money.
We'll credit it back to your account. That doesn't help me.
No. Okay. Obviously, with the housing benefit, how do you feel that you might be affected with universal credit when it comes in?
I think it's a really bad idea, to be honest. So if you're responsible with your money, so if you spend it all within 2 days, then you're hard up for the whole rest of the month. I think they talk about putting a housing benefit in there as well before. I think it's a lot easier to pay before you actually get the money into your account. I do it with my other bills. I just hope universal credit doesn't go through, to be honest.
I think none of us know, to be honest, what's going to happen. But do you think, assuming it does, let's work on something, do you think that you would want to set up something like direct debit to pay it that way, so that the payment does come out on the day when you get paid your universal credit?
That's what I'll do, yeah. It'd just be too stressful thinking that Like I said, direct debits, my mobile phone will never know if it's going to be higher or lower.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I try and pay most of my bills before I get them. I think it had to be a direct debit, yeah. And the money comes in, I do that on the same day. Just a peace of mind, really.
Well, I think for things like rent, you could, I mean, certainly the way that we do it, you could choose, because with direct debit, obviously that's varying amounts of money. As you say, with things like your phone account, whatever, say they can charge you whatever when, as long as they advise you in advance how much it's going to be, they can do that. With things like rent, because that changes on an annual basis, you can just set up a standing order. So you know exactly how much is going to pay out on what day. And so you have complete control, because it's never going to be any more or any less. You just know on that day of the month, that amount's coming out, so that gives you complete control that way. Okay. Do you have any questions about the rent payments or how they work, or is there anything specific there?
I think so.
Okay. In which case, move on to the repairs section. Have either of you had to use the repairs at all? Okay, fantastic. Well, in which case, if you can look at the box in exactly the same way, now just to give you a bit of a description to the way those work, a routine repair is a kind of average everyday repair. If something breaks in your house, you phone up, you need it repaired. Emergency is if it's something that has to be repaired immediately, say something's blown up, doors blown off, whatever, so it's not secure, so something has to be fixed, because that's dealt with slightly differently. And out of hours is anything that's outside of normal office hours, which is 8 till 6, is it, for the call centre?
Yes, it is now.
Yeah, and weekends. So if you haven't had either the emergency or the out of hours, don't worry about it. But if you have, then if you could score all of those and just say what you would find easier, or how you make the process easier.
Trying to be really, really nice.
You don't need to be right nice. It's what's useful is to know, again, it comes down to not the satisfaction with what happened, but when you booked the repair, how easy was it to actually get repair booked in the first place?
Okay.
So it's more to do with that. If there was a problem subsequently, like it wasn't done to your satisfaction, or they've had to come back 10 times, or so it's the actual booking of the repair to be able to come through and say, this needs fixing, can I book it this time to do it? You get the chance to not be nice when you turn the page over.
I've had a problem with my plumbing. I've had it it keeps leaking, then it gets blocked up, and the waste pipe keeps coming off, and I think I get really scared because I think the flat's going to flood. It's happened a couple of times. I'm not sure what I should put down, but it's fine now. I've always been sort of on time. And
in which case, the ease of doing business with is the reporting process. So that's what you base your scores on. When you flip the page over, you say, well, they keep on coming out. It's not being repaired. What's going to happen with it?
Okay, yeah.
And that's of interest why you're doing that. Did you book yours online, or did you do it by telephone?
Telephone, I haven't done it online yet.
Yeah, telephone as well.
It's worth checking out. On the website, there's we designed a special user interface to allow you to choose where the problem is. And even I can understand, I'm really not the most practical person in the world at all. But you get pictures of different parts of the property, and so it keeps on drilling down. So we did a test run in a meeting I was involved in the other day, and we had to try and choose a problem with the stairs. And you effectively go in and you choose what type of property it is, and then it's like, is it inside or is it outside? And once you've chosen inside, then it will say, is it the hall and stairs, or is it the kitchen or the bathroom? And then you can choose, you keep on drilling down, you choose the point that it is, and then you get a selection of what time slot you want to try and book it in for the next available time slot. So, and that is 24 hours a day. So you don't need to worry about somebody being on the end of the telephone. So just might be worth considering next time, but it's a useful little tool, that one. And it's specially designed. There are loads of other housing associations trying to use the technology that we use for that, because it's such an intuitive tool. So definitely worth looking at. We are trying to streamline it, because there are still kind of glitches here and there where you go to press a button that it doesn't exist and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So now you filled in those boxes. So what were your experiences in the repairs process?
Sort of used to phone up, used to sort of, I think, some lady on the phone, and she would say, they can come out at this time, I should book you in. Possibly if you could talk to the repairer beforehand to get a specific time maybe. Even though I do get a specific time, I think I've had that for the emergency before, like the plumber when I first moved in. And they noticed that any time of the evening they would come out, but I can't say it's a bad thing, because if I was living somewhere privately, these would cost me hundreds of pounds to call someone out, so I can't really see a fault there, to be honest. But I think, to be honest, with the service, I've never had any problems. I think they've always been out on time. They always come up with a say they are, and yeah, it's been good.
And how about the fact that they're still coming up with the same? Is it the same problem that keeps repeating?
No, it's sort of, I first moved in, I think, because the last tenant, they took the washing machine out, and some of the pipes were leaking, and it just got worse and worse. And I saw a lot of dripping underneath my kitchen sink, and I was getting very worried. So I phoned the emergency line, they came out within a couple of hours. And then it's had to do with the sink being blocked or something. It's been blocked a couple of times, and they've had to put something down the sink. But I don't know whether that's my fault with the grease, a lot of grease in the actual kitchen sink, or but it's fine now.
Were they able to advise you?
They just sort of put some washing liquid down the sink once in a while to get the grease it. But no problems now. It's about 2 months ago now, the last time I had any problems.
No, I've all sorts of repairs. Obviously, been with yourselves for about just over 6 years. So we've had from silly things to huge things. I think overall the ringing up and booking an appointment, pretty simple. I do like being able to. Sometimes you can't clicking a button and saying I have a problem here. It just isn't enough. And there's been times where I do have to physically, in my type of language, say, but it's this and this is what I can see, and I don't know what type of a person needs to come out for that problem, and is it classed as the wall, or is it classed as the unit on the wall, or the whatever the problem be. I've got children, and one of my pet hates, aside from the physical, the people coming and actually doing the appointment, are the time slots. Now I know the time slots have been changed lately, and you can kind of get these 2-hour appointments. Still no good. My youngest is about to go to school, so that will change. But for a while I've had him at home. I have the 9 o'clock school run in the morning, back up there at midday to drop the little one to nursery, back at 3 o'clock. So the 9 and 11 appointment, the 8 till 11 or whatever it is, I'm on school run slap bang in the middle. 11 till 1, I'm on school run in the middle. 3 till 5 or whatever it is, I'm on a school run. And I know that you can't accommodate for everybody, but that's one thing. And my kids have missed nursery, my youngest has missed nursery before because I couldn't physically not have this support. I need you to come. Yeah. I will have to deal with not being able to get a decent slot, and he's missed it a few times, or where we've had all-day appointments. And I think once upon a time I probably would have considered leaving somebody in the property while I go and do the school run. I don't know if it's because I'm older, or I don't know, maybe more of a worry now, but it's just not something I really would consider or would like to do anymore. I recently had a repair which was for my back door, and so even though he was working outside, the door was off, and I just had to say, do you know what, I'm going to school, and he'd taken the door off the hinges, he wasn't ready to put the new door on. There wasn't much I could do. I couldn't say to him, well, can you put that back on and wait for 45 minutes until I'm back? It was either leave him to get on with what he's doing, and you just risk it. And it's not to say that people are not trustworthy of being in your property, but it's my house, and it's just that worrying. Not that it would be them to cause anything to happen. If they nip out to the van and the door's left open, that's, if I did it, it's my responsibility. If I walked down the road and knocked on the neighbour's door and left mine wide open. But I just don't like to leave that up to risk. So those slots have been a bit of a killer to try and wrangle them.
Well, probably not actually that unusual. There's probably quite a lot of people that do the nursery run in the middle or whatever with kids as well. So yeah.
It's just a pain where I've got some people obviously just have nursery children or just school children, or even people that are at work. I don't know.
Yeah,
there's just that. It's the way it is. So that has been a little bit of a pain.
With the online booking, I know the issue is the time slots, but with the online booking, what you were saying about not knowing what tradesman, you don't need to know what tradesman. It does just take you through and you pick.
And they will just...
you'll get through to a picture of a bathroom and you'll point on the sink or the tap or the toilet or whatever, and they'll then work it out. So we haven't seen the schedulers back here that will look at the description that you put in and what you've selected. If they're unsure about anything, they'll give you a call and just check what it is. Make sure we get the right person.
That is good. Sorry, just to jump in with another thing about repairs. These text messages to tell you someone's on the way, 90% of the time, the person's already half finished in my house before it gets to me. And I think, and sometimes it's perfect. Sometimes they will come through. I had a repairer. The guy was due to. He said to me, "I'll be there at 8." So I knew to be up and ready and alert and ready for 8 o'clock this morning. I knew that he had a 4-hour appointment booked in. But there'll be those days when the text will come through and you think, okay, I've got 15 minutes, I can quickly do this before. But kids, if you all need there's a repair in the bathroom, everyone goes to the toilet before the man's here. Now get back out again. But yeah, Jason from, he came over to mine this morning, the supervisor, to come and have a look at this ongoing problem that I've got. I think the text came through about 2 hours later. He had gone, and then 10 minutes after, another text. Jason has confirmed he has completed your appointment at your property. And I think there's such a good idea. It is good to know, even though you've got that time slot, I could just quickly nip to the shop. Right. They're not going to be here for 20 minutes. Or if you've forgotten that you've got that appointment, you think, I've got 20 minutes, I can either race home or call RHP and say, do you know what? I'm going to be half an hour, but they're coming in 20 minutes. But if the texts don't come until they're halfway through the job, or hours later, there's just no point in it. And I'm sure it costs you money to have that service to be able to generate them. And if they don't come on time, it is just a bit of a waste.
It's certainly worth noting, because as you say, it's something that's designed to make people's lives easier.
Yeah.
But if it just causes a bit
when I get them on time, it's perfect. Don't get me wrong, it's perfect. But it's when they say, right, okay, I haven't finished now. And then your phone goes and he's like, okay, you'll be here in 10 minutes.
Do you have any other feedback on repairs at all through that section? I said there's a chance on the back, if you want anything we want to specifically look at, we can write down there.
Sometimes emergency out of hours and have problems with my plumbing. They come out as quite sort of, it's nice to know they can come out and sort of put my mind at ease, but they don't see it's only a small van, they can't sort of fix a problem there and then it's sort of an emergency or out of hours, so if they come back another day. I don't know whether that's just because of they haven't got the space. They don't,
It's generally because the emergency is purely an emergency. What they do is they make it safe.
Okay.
So for an emergency, they'll come say, if your window's broken, they'll put a board up over it. If the door's broken, they'll do it. It's literally just to make it safe. It's to do enough to make sure there isn't going to be any danger to anyone, that the property's secure. And then they'll send someone back to try and fix it properly.
I know anything to an emergency and sort of routine appointment. So if the plumbing's gone, I have to turn the stopcock off and I've got no running water. And that's an emergency, is it?
I
No.
couldn't even tell you that, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
We can find out and let you know though.
Yeah.
So if you put a note on the back,
Okay.
that you'd like us to look into that, we can certainly look into that and get back to you and let you know.
Thank you.
Because I don't actually know that result. So.
It will, I think, be classed as a priority job rather than an emergency job.
Okay.
If you have no money, especially if it was cold water,
Yeah.
then yeah, we'll ask certain questions, but it would normally be, I think, the next day or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
So an emergency is where it's actually not safe or secure.
Yeah,
And priority is
yeah, and
actually
then it's
really need
expected
to do
for a few
it.
hours till we get there. Priority is, yeah, so a priority job would be, you know, an elderly lady in the winter, central heating as well, wouldn't want to get out there that day, so that's, yeah, and no water, so, yeah.
Don't need to get back to you with an answer.
I've had the better experience of mine have been when it's been an emergency and do you know what will come, we'll make sure that's done. I know it's not finished, fixer upper, and it works, and they come and they do it, and sometimes you might have to wait till 3 o'clock in the morning, but it's done, and you know, and I keep saying I've got kids, but they are my priority, so
Well,
all of these
difference,
things, it does always come down to, I've had my boiler go, it used to go all the time until finally they just said, we can't fix this, you need a new one, we can't just keep coming out, and it would just, like I say, in the middle of winter, it would just go, no heating, no hot water, things like that. And guys have come, and one man came out and he was just like, you just need to put your pressure up. I can fix this. And it was just, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. But wow, my kids are in bed in tracksuits and dressing gowns and 5 duvets, and you've literally just come and saved the world, literally. So I've had really good experience with like the out of hours and emergency appointments that I've needed to have over the routine appointments, definitely.
I think there's, there's far more room for error in the routine.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Okay.
No, she works for council.
Yeah,
So you didn't have anyone from RHP?
no, I saw my contract with Ben. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's your customer. Yes, he's Twickenham. Yeah, he's your customer.
Oh, yeah, I'll say that. I think I met my caretaker, so I'm going to put down.
So again, if you haven't, don't just leave it blank. There's no worries. It's only if you've actually had the experience of dealing with them.
Yeah.
And how have you found your contacts with us so far? With the actual, whenever you have contact with somebody, have you found that it's been a fairly easy process, or has it been quite difficult to get your point across, or get them, as I said, not to do with satisfaction again, but to get what you're asking for done, get through to the right person or the right phone?
I think I've had it with the contact centre when I've rang up. I've had it both ways. There's somebody, for the life of me, I can't remember her name right now, but she's fantastic, and I've had this ongoing problem, this ongoing repair, and she will ring. I will ring you every Friday, and it works. She will ring me every Friday. So the guys came in this week and they've done this. How has that gone? Is there anything I can do? Is there anything else you want before we finish this call? And then there's other times I've called up again over an ongoing repair, and I'll say, please can you leave a message for this person to call me? Is there anybody else I can speak to? What can I do? Because I've been ringing twice a week for the last 3 weeks and I haven't had anybody contact me back. All I keep doing is ringing and leaving messages. Oh, that person sits across from me. As soon as they're in the office, etc., etc. Eventually, my customer advisor called me and said, do you know what? You were being misinformed the whole time. That person doesn't actually deal with that problem. So I was leaving messages and messages and messages, thinking this one person eventually may call me back and help me deal with this problem. And they didn't. And I didn't know that going on to the customer advisor, I didn't know that mine had changed. Because I haven't had to have contact, or felt that I've needed to have contact. The last time from when I moved in, it was Evelyn. I think she went on maternity a couple of times when I have needed to speak, or I've called up and said, oh, my housing officer's Evelyn. And she's on maternity at the moment, it's this person for while she's gone, which is fine. But then this time round I was saying, oh, can I just speak to Evelyn? Oh, she can help me. And they were, oh no, it's not her, it's this person. So on here I've put being advised when they change, just to know, do you know what, if you do need to contact us, this is who it is now. Just, yeah, just to have that information makes it life a little bit easier. You know who you don't sound like an idiot when you're phoning up, because it's such a struggle sometimes where everything is over the phone, nothing is face to face. When you're struggling with having people missing appointments or repairs not being finished and things not being done properly, and you just have to rely on that one person that takes that phone call. If I could have said, please can you just leave a message for my customer advisor, but obviously it got to that point where I just said, I can't take this anymore. And then I got off the phone feeling stupid. How do I not know that she's not my, she's not that person, she's not my housing officer anymore, she's not that one person that I could go to. That made me feel stupid, and I thought, oh, now they just think I'm an idiot and I don't even know who I'm talking about, and I'm going on and on and on to speak to this one person who's not even there. So
if, I don't want to put words into your mouth, so I want to try and just get what I'm saying. So whenever you've had to report stuff and it's kind of like a one-off or first time doing it, generally the service is pretty good because you're able to just do it. It's whenever there's an issue and people are not clear about
and being told, oh, if they not got back to you, okay, I'll leave them another message. And I have to leave that with that person and take their word that they're going to leave the message. And it's not that they're not necessarily doing that, but if they're directing my messages to the wrong person or wrong department, it doesn't get me anywhere, and it just leaves me calling back again and again when I could have made one phone call, known who I should have been speaking to, and had it dealt with. But then it puts me on a real downer, and I think, how many times? I've rang, like I say, there was this one issue, and I rang 2-3 times a week for 3 weeks, and I just, surely someone should realise by now, if I'm ringing this much and saying this person still hasn't rang me back, and all they needed to say to me was, this person doesn't work in the office. When they came to your house and reviewed your door and your repair, etc., that's what they do 90% of the time. They aren't in the office to pick up these messages, and obviously I needed a follow-up with that appointment, and I assumed that was my go-to person because he had come, he was fantastic. Don't worry, if you need anything, give me a call.
Their personal mobile numbers, though, don't
yeah, exactly. And then it's, okay, well, I'm giving you a call now. Yeah. No, you're not there. And sometimes you feel like, this person's just lying to me. This person must just be lying. But somebody said, oh, I sit right opposite that person. They're not at their desk right now. And I think, yeah, you're just sitting there, thumbs up at each other, saying, oh, it's Miss Merrill. No, not today. And yeah, you have to put a lot of trust because it's not face to face. If I came here and said, no, I'm not leaving until I speak to someone and I really get help with this, obviously it doesn't look good on my part. You don't want a reception full of people saying, get this done now. But you just put your trust in that one advisor, and if they misadvise you or say they're going to do something and they're sending your comments or whatever the wrong way, it doesn't help anybody.
Well, the aim is to actually try and get to a stage where when you contact the call centre, that they know who to transfer you to, because it might be that the CA is not the best person, but it's to know the person in the repairs team who should be dealing with it. So it's actually trying to get you right on.
Whereas I was trying to get through to this person in the repairs team, where I'd had experience with that person. They'd come to my property, they'd reassured me A, B and C will be done, and then X, Y and Z was actually done, and I'm trying to ring and say, hold on, I was told this was the process. I had to wait an extra week for him to come to my property, and he's double checked what the operative has said, agreed that yes, this work needs to be done. The work's then being done, but it's not the same thing. They don't add up to, that person stood in my house and promised me, yes, we will do this. Now I just want to speak to them and say why. And you don't get through to them.
Trying to get a joined up approach so you might get people who know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like I said, being consistent with that. Okay. Right, so wary of the time, so I want to give you a chance to fill some stuff on the back as well. The last section on this sheet is to do with the contact method. So any method of communication that you've had with us, if you can score that on how easy it was to do, and again, any way you can make it easier. There's no, whether it's online or it's, to have a web chat, you must have used the website, because it's like a subsection of that, but all those other ones can say a bit ease.
When you have a web chat, sorry, just to ask a question on that, what would you have that, in what instance would I ring up and do that?
For example, you're trying to book a repair online.
Yeah.
And you're in the repairs process, and you're trying to do something and you kind of get stuck.
Yeah.
You can press the web chat button, although I'm not sure it's a button at the moment. There's a function, but what will happen is someone will actually join you live on there and say, "What's your question?"
Okay.
And you can say, "Look, I'm kind of stuck here. What do I do?"
Yeah.
And they can advise you there and then. So rather than picking up the phone, there's somebody actually sitting there going, "Okay, well, she's there, she's doing that. So do this next, do that."
Okay.
And do it that way.
Okay.
So it's actually just to try and help you while you're online without having to make a phone call to go through.
Yeah.
Because it's specific to what you're doing there and then.
Right there. Yeah. Okay. No, that's good to know. I didn't know about that.
But it's something you'll find on lots of sites. Often if you buy stuff online, any of those sites will often have like a help button. And someone basically saying, "How can I help you? What can we do? What is it you're trying to do?" And then they'll advise you on what to do. Okay. Rather than going through that, because that's just basically kind of what we like, and then there's different reasons for doing different things at different times, but it's just useful to see your scores on that. But if you'd like to flip your page over now, this is where it comes to satisfaction. Now I'm not asking you to score on satisfaction. What I'd really like you to do, I've given you don't need to fill out all 10, but it's thinking as many things as you can. What would make you very, very satisfied with RHP? So there are no guidelines on this, but one of our goals is to make as many of our customers very satisfied as possible. We have certain targets that we're aiming for. Now that's not just a kind of, yeah, that's okay. That's what it is. It's actually what will make you very satisfied, and that's like a really big ask. And so rather than, it's trying to look at the positive slant on it, because there are lots of things that need doing, it's like this repair needs doing that, but it's saying, what would make you very satisfied with RHP? And so just whatever you want to put down there. There are no rules, no regulations, it's just whatever you want to put down there. You think of anything else, stretch mind. Because quite often it's when you start stretching and you think, oh, that'd be a really good thing. I don't think we'll bring you tea in the morning, but that could be it. It could be what it would take.
essentially, after you complained on Facebook or Twitter or something, I'm really sorry. They finally sent them out a remote that did actually work, and they put like a 6-pack of Kit Kats or something in for them as well, just for the sake of it. They've been very happy.
It's thinking about your home and the service that we provide. Such a chance didn't be. It doesn't have to be just get that done. It's whatever works. Excellent, thank you. As I said, that is quite a tricky one. It's trying to get people, because we tend to think about, you say how you're going to improve that cup, you might say, well, you can make it shiny, and then it's actually trying to think outside the box and see what would really, really work. The final part of that is any comments that you want. So if you want to put down any kind of feedback about something you want particularly looked at, or what you think about us, or anything you want investigated, anything along those lines, you might think you need to bring better biscuits next time for the next focus group, anything you like, just any kind of feedback that you've got you want to put that you haven't made already. I've been taking notes all the way through, but there might be something you specifically want down, you might want past your CA to look into for you, or anything along those lines. Just pop that down on there so we can forward it to the relevant people. Again, if there's nothing, then don't worry about it. If there is something, then feel free to put it down there. And apart from that, if there isn't anything you want to put down, you can just make sure you fill in your name, your address and date of birth and postcode at the top, front, and then sign and date at the bottom at the back. And just out of interest, because obviously we were expecting more people today, when we didn't turn up. If we did this as a webinar, where there was some kind of presentation, so you weren't actually in the room, but you could sign up and then view it online, and then ask questions on your computer, is that the sort of thing that would appeal to you? Would you like, or would you prefer the kind of face-to-face stuff, or?
Sorry.
Either, to be honest, yeah. I mean, so I can sort of understand what's going on the internet and stuff. I mean, face to face, sort of like a sort of recorded and put on the web, the live.
Yeah, it would be a live
yeah.
thing. So effectively, it would be me or someone prettier and more knowledgeable sitting there doing some kind of presentation, which might take 5-10 minutes to explain what the whole topic's about. But then an invitation for people, because you would register in advance, so you know what time it's happening, you know it's happening, you all register, you log on, you see the presentation, and then you effectively type in your question, and then we sit here and field the questions, and then we try and answer you in real time and say, this question's come in regarding this, this is how we deal with that. And with the potential for the focus group, because often a webinar is just a kind of presentation of, well, we're doing this, we might be building these things in this area, what do you think about it? Whereas this is more, it's likely to be a presentation with questions being asked, but then like an online survey, so you'd have these same kind of questions to answer, but you do it as an online survey. Yeah. Don't know whether that would sort of do with appeal.
Oh, I would do that, yeah, I would do that, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I think with this type of appointment, being able to, do you know what, dinner was cooked early, you've got the kids, you sort that, I can come here and sit down and focus.
Yeah.
I think if I had to do it at home and on the computer, I personally would struggle with, Mummy,
Yeah.
go back to bed, I'm trying to, this man doesn't need to see you in your pyjamas, and trying to type and keep up with everything that's going on.
We wouldn't see what's going on at your end, it's a one-way thing.
I'll just tell them that, so get them back out, but I just think that I wouldn't be able to give it my 100%,
Understandable.
but that's for my situation.
Excellent. Would you be happy to participate in any more of these events that came up?
Yeah.
Excellent. That's good. So we'll bear that in mind. Do you have any kind of questions at all of us while we're here?
No, I'm quite happy. It wasn't hard.
It's not designed to test you, really. I said it really is, because it's just getting people's feedback. And
Yeah.
it's actually trying to get honest feedback from people. It's quite tricky. So it's any way we can.